Hello, hello, hello. I'm just going to tweet out that we're live. We are live. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good week. I just wanted to catch everyone up on some news. Couple of things. Want to do mail call. Oh, by the way, just for those who don't know, I was supposed to be on Timcast today with a really, really cool Halloween outfit. Tim got sick. Tim doesn't even know what the outfit was supposed to be. No one there knows. I had to buy all this makeup and stuff, get a hat made, but it's not happening. So that's very disappointing because we were planning this for a very long time. What is the highest ranked blue check you pissed off? That's a good question. Probably Rosie years ago. I think it wasn't particularly pissed off, but it was just funny because I said, you guys are probably too young to remember this, but when the movie A League of Their Own came out, Madonna and Rosie did all the talk shows together. And I said, oh, in retrospect, were they like parading around a lesbian relationship? And she goes, no, it's called Friends. Goggle it. And I wasn't begrudging. I'm sure Madonna's been with women, and I don't think anyone really cares. Thanks. Okay. So I wanted to do a little bit. So that's kind of disappointing, the Tim shirt, but I've got the Timcast shirt on. Let me do a little bit of mail call because I got some cool stuff in the mail that I'm really happy about. Someone sent me a postcard from Neil Hamburger, which was really great. So thank you for that. What would it take to get you to go on Josh Smith's podcast, Break the Cycle? A court order. Rogan was excellent. Thank you, Charlie. So that was cool. So here's something else. I got a card from a guy who made his own kind of tarot cards. So maybe I can look at them and see. Scott Horton's apology to who? I don't even know what this is about. I have no idea what you're talking about. Who did he apologize to? You should do a video chat, Ian, and talk about graphene with him. Okay. So let's see what the cards say. We'll pick one from my past, one from my present, and one from my future. I don't know the tarot card stuff, but I thought this is cool. He sent me a deck. Shut up, deck. I don't know how to... Then we could talk about Joe Rogan and Glenn Beck and answer some questions. And I want to update you about the white pill life, so I've got some good news. Okay, so I don't know that Scott said anything to me at Tom Woods, not that to my knowledge. He doesn't owe me an apology, or assuming you're being apologizing to me. Okay, so you are one of my favorite people on earth. Have you heard of the bird which is the bald eagle? I have not familiar. Okay, so let's see. My past is the flow card. I don't know what that means. I guess, yeah, we're in flux. That makes kind of sense. And my present is the adaptation card, which is writing a book. So that's true. And last but not least, for the future, sacrifice. I'm going to be a martyr for the age of anarchism. So this pans out. So this deck is 100% legit. So I want to thank, what's his name? Ken, for sending this. That was really cool. But that's not the two other things I got that were really cool. As someone in favor of national divorce, have you considered interviewing the leaders of independence movements in the United States? I have, and I've rejected it because they seem to be singularly uninteresting. Are you interested in doing a one-on-one Ben Shapiro? I mean, this would be the internet would die. We would just absolutely die if that happened, and it's going to happen at some point. There's no beef between me and Ben. Do you think it'd be easier to turn Brown Beck into an anarchist or get him to switch his underwear to sheath? Sheath underwear promo code Malice gets you 20% off. Probably the underwear. I don't think, but he's got the Mormon stuff, so I don't know about how what they do with underwear. They've got some weird underwear stuff going on there. Have you found a scorpion in your house yet? I've not, but I have found a gecko. So that was really cool. And this was really cool. This is just two more things I got that I really appreciated today, besides the letter. Oh, that was you, Amanda. Thank you for that postcard. That was really great. I didn't want to hold it up because it has my address on it. Thanks to you, Michael Malice. I have a statue of Lenin on top of the ashes of my deceased. You may have misunderstood some of my work. So this is a shirt from Stick Red Pill, which is really, really great. They found out that like leprosy could be cured by armadillos. So I'm going to wear this. Who is worse, FDR or Wilson, and why? It's It's Wilson. Me and Tom Woods argued about it when he was on my show on Compound Media. You can look at the archives there. Blair White, I will see you later. You are welcome. I didn't make you hate cops. The cops made you hate cops. Loved you on Beck. Made some sense to my BoomerCon parents. That takes some real talent. Okay. Of all the compliments I've gotten, this is one of the best because, as I'm sure you and everyone else can appreciate, if you get through to a BoomerCon, you're basically Svengali because they're so mindless, much worse than young people. It's really a situation. So if I could get through the BoomerCons, I'm doing something right. I want to thank you for all the unsolicited advice on Twitter, how to persuade people. You're really helping, and it's really warranted and appreciated. Dave Franco, let us assume that hierarchy happens. That's true. How would an anarchic hierarchy play itself out peacefully? We're having a hierarchy right now. You're in my stream. I can kick you out. You can leave. It's peaceful. Hierarchy is... I had a podcast with Thad Russell. He's going to drop it soon. We discussed this as well. Hierarchy isn't just an aspect of human nature. It's an aspect of nature. So if you look, I had an aquarium that died with the blackout in 2003 or 4, whatever it was. Harvey Pekar wrote a story about it. And coincidentally, all the fish in my aquarium, one was from the Indian Ocean, one from Atlantic, one from Pacific, and there was another one there was 2 from one ocean. And between them, they had a pecking order, which is a term derived from chickens or from birds. So even though the only place on Earth these animals were in the same space was in my living room, they still figured out a hierarchy. But it was also peaceful. Dogs have a hierarchy that's peaceful. Sure, like sometimes they'll be a little aggressive, but it's not violent. Any updates? Okay, so this is great news. So John is mastering it right now. He's up to the John Hasnas chapter, after which is just me, the Malice chapter, which Lex Friedman did. So it's going to happen imminently, and I'm going to upload it to Audible. I'll probably announce it on Tim. So it's a matter of days at this point. So thank you for your patience. Do you also include the Free State Project as part of those that are particularly interesting? No, the people at the Free State Project are really fun to talk to, but I try to avoid talking to libertarians on my show as much as possible, which is why I have more like conservatives like Dave Smith on. Writing to like Carb Benjamin, no. You want me to pass this on? Oh, you're a Geordie. We got a Geordie here. Right until like Carl Benjamin, the inflation here was 4% last quarter. Bureaucrats doing a terrible job after Brexit as usual. Love from Newcastle. Look up Mary Bell from Newcastle. She's the youngest child. She's the youngest murderer. It was awesome meeting you at Tom Woods. Once again, thank you for everything you do, including triggering people hard enough to warrant physical removal. Wasn't that great? And by the way, now I'm stuck with this effing Tom Woods puppet in my house, and I don't know what to do with it. And that thing was not cheap. Dogs are forever in the push-up position. Not German Shepherds. Do you have beef with Gavin McInnes? He thinks you don't like him. He's correct. He was leaving Compound Media. What'd he say? He called me an ingrate or something and then he shoved me. So yeah, I do not think I'm not the only one. He's managed to burn every single bridge he's had. Hell, thank you, Sarah. How would you deal with blue-pilled friends that have a very poor understanding of power and politics? Don't talk about politics with them. You don't have to talk about everything with everything. What's more likely, 6 booster shots or a big COVID mission accomplished in Biden? Oh, the speech. They can declare victory just when they give up. What are your thoughts on Rand's view on anarchism? Would it bug you, fans, pirate ego and hubris? It would not bug me at all. More power to you. My thoughts on Ramsey's anarchism, you could watch the Lex Friedman episode I did with Yaron Brook, but I thought her criticism were very poorly thought out. And I could have criticized anarchism a lot better than she did. You a Jew, right? Who told? Okay, I got to shut down the stream. Sorry, guys, I got to shut down the stream. Okay, before we get to, I'm just going to do 2 more questions, and I'm going to get the real cool stuff, which is this. I believe Jordan Peterson emphasizes competence hierarchies. That's the nature of hierarchy. It's clear there's minimum competency in the current U.S. iteration of government leaders. I disagree with you completely. I think they're extremely competent, but they're competent for different things than they say they're going for. They're competent in terms of controlling the population. They're competent in terms of maintaining power. Look how many of them get reelected. I'm just talking about strictly politicians, and how many of them get fired. It's very, very few. So they're extremely competent, but they're not competent in producing for the masses. But why is that their job at all? That's a very blue-pilled perspective. Thoughts on Blaze TV? Are the people there more blue-pilled or red-pilled? Red-pilled. They're really, and they're very, for conservatives, they're really kind of interested. Eric July works there. Eric July's an anarchist. He's great. I saw him at Tom Woods 2000. Just a great mensch, like a really good dude. And I think it's impressive that what Glenn has created. It's no joke. If shown today's left and what I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Okay, hold on a second. So this is a really cool. Stop with the super chats because I'm gonna miss them. Okay, so look what I got in the mail. This was really, really exciting. It has been 4 months since I've resigned from the police department. My mental and physical health has improved dramatically, and I've stopped drinking. I've started working as a bartender in Baltimore for the time being and really enjoy serving people and making them happy. Here is my badge. I got a cop to save his soul and resign, and I'm going to get this framed and hang it in my house because there's this Jewish expression, which I really, really love. If you save one life, you save the world. And this is what it's all about. The guy can sleep easy now that he doesn't have to impose the law against peaceful people. So I really, really cherish this enormously. Okay, should I do the same thing where I just answer questions and never get to the recap? People hate that, and I hate getting people upset. It's my least favorite thing. How do I do this? Oh, wait, this is how I could do this. Okay, we got Matt. What did Matt have to say? How do I post? Jesus, this doesn't let me post them. This interface is not that. What is the best way to troll fundamentalist Muslims who disapprove of my and my Western Muslim wife interfaith marriage? Blow up their schools. I do not mean that. Do not demonetize me, Facebook. Just happy to catch one of these lives. Thank you, Matt. You're welcome, Matt. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Rogan. This was my 6th time on Rogan. It was actually a little kind of, I was very excited to do it. One of the reasons why I moved to Austin is not only is like a lot of my crew here, there's also a lot of people here who are in the whole podcasting and kind of, cultural space, and there's just lots of it's like a Venn diagram here in Austin because the biohackers are here. You've got the crypto people here. You've got the podcast people here. There's a big anarchist scene. So it's really exciting to be around this energy where something is happening. And I had this happen to me before because I'm a dinosaur. When I was a lot younger, I was one of the first people to kind of make it by having a blog. This is in 2003 to 2006. And as that was happening, we knew that we were like at the cusp of something really, really great. And that it did end up happening. It was just really like an amazing time. So I'm really excited to be here. I haven't even taken a single step toward learning how to drive yet. That's how busy I've been. Let me talk about, so Joe calls. I was really excited that he called right on the heels of that CNN nonsense. This was the first time when I was on the show where I wasn't at all nervous. because when you do Rogan, and I'm not the only one who says this, Bridget Fallacy says this as well. When it's very comfortable, and you're just broing out for like a few hours, and then as soon as you leave, you think to yourself, "Oh crap! What did I say?" And this time there was none of that. It really felt like we were pals. I was completely comfortable. I wasn't watching what I was saying. I wasn't worried about anything, and it panned out. I didn't get any beef from it at all. I thought he was very, very magnanimous, much more magnanimous than I certainly am. But I'm nowhere near Rogan's level, of course. So I've never had to deal with this level of fame and success, but also the level of having people just blatantly lying about me repeatedly and laughing. There was someone, Tom Elliott, I think his name is, he heads Agravian Media. He had a supercut of Twitter of all these pundits just like, like they're acting as if he went to some vet's office, like stole a thing of horse paste and was just eating it like a kindergartner eating Elmer's. It was so disingenuous. But yeah, it was really great to kind of, and I see why here's the thing, like people were like, "Oh, Joe's too naive." I don't know Jeff Zucker, right? I don't know Don Lemon. I've never met Sanjay Gupta. It's very different, in my view, once you've met someone and hung out with them, to in your head think this person has done a lot of evil. Like, you might understand it logically, but emotionally it's hard to accept. It's just about kind of like how dogs bite people, right? Because that's their pet. He would never hurt a fly, and then he bites someone, and it's like it's so incongruous with the dog that you know. So it's really hard to have those two things in your mind as well. So that was kind of the vibe there. I haven't watched it yet. I don't know that I will. I don't really like watching podcasts. I certainly don't particularly like watching mine. What was really fun is after the 3-hour mark, he's like, "Do you want to go more?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." And he went to the bathroom. We kept going more. So that was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's really cool that, that I get to be here. And if the More Time Politics comes up, I get to be the go-to person and hopefully red pill a lot of people in this country. So that was really, really exciting. As for Glenn, I'll get to that in a second. Let me tell you guys the exciting news about the white pill. So the book, this is how I've written all my other books. You write the first draft and it's complete gibberish. So it'll be like a sentence, then 2 hard returns and some like a line or a quote, and it's all there, but it's almost literally like a jigsaw puzzle. Like from one sentence to another, there's not continuity. The second, then I take all that information, and I had to do that for Dear Reader especially, because I was reading, was it 60 books? So I just had a master file of all the quotes, and then I had to put in chronological order and kind of sort out what the chapters were going to be. So this is a less crazy book than Dear Reader, and has less, it's much more linear, and it's subject matter I have some familiarity with. But so basically so the first draft, except for the end, is pretty much done. So it's completely incoherent. I have to go through it again and make it nice. I'm going to do it differently, because usually I get the incoherent version, then I put in order, make a second draft, then I go through again and make it pretty. This time I've got the incoherent version. It's going to be done like imminently. I'm going to fix that, and I'm going to worry about the last couple of chapters after the rest of the book is done. So I haven't done that before, but that's going to be my approach for this one. Let me answer some questions, and I'll talk about Glenn. Lived in Hong Kong 15 years. Amazingly, how quickly the Hong Kong cops turned to an enforcement arm of the Chinese communists. Locals still in shock. I'm in shock. Republicans are turning to an anarchist. If you're in shock, that is indicative. You don't have to be an anarchist, but you have to at least confess that if your worldview was so incapable of predicting something so basic, you had to have done the math wrong somewhere. That's all I'm going to say. What do you think of the battle for market fairness? Anytime I hear the word fairness, I run away screaming. Love the shutdown, the heckler, Tom Woods 2000. What's the least bad function of the state? I would say things like food stamps, like that, probably, or like giving school lunches for kids, like things like that. You know, feeding poor people. That's, I think, easily the least bad function of the state. Or it's traffic lights. What's the least good purely private sector occupation or industry? It would probably be tobacco, because all they do, or alcohol. Well, no, probably tobacco, because alcohol certainly has very many purposes that don't have to be bad, but tobacco is all downside. So I would say the tobacco industry, unless I could think of something even worse. But off the top of my head, I'd say tobacco. Thanks for doing these live streams. Think about moving to Texas. What do you miss most about New York so far? I swear to you on my life, I don't miss anything, like at all. Like besides like my nephews and my sister, my mom, I do not miss anything about New York at all. Sometimes I watch these videos and I'm like, burn it down. Nothing about it. Nothing. Look, I contradict myself. The one thing is that you could walk around, like, because it's hot here and humid. So so sometimes here you can't walk around. That's it. But I don't need to be in New York to do that. Oh man, there's so many of you. Okay. 1 year ago was 252. Today I cracked 180. Hell yeah. And in a week I'm competing in bodybuilding competition. Wait a minute, you went from 252 to bodybuilding in a year? That seems crazy. I don't understand how that's even possible, but good for you. Any news on the Anarchist Handbook hardcovers? Sure, they're off to the printers and they'll be available at malice.locals.com for supporters only. Why switch to You're Welcome to Podcast One? There were several reasons. One is I'm not in New York, so there's no use for the gas studios. Gas is a great network, but also it's hard for them to sell. Podcast One just had more of like bigger ad rates. So it was just a function of that and more kind of cred. Because if I'm going to get bigger names, I didn't want to be selling things like Blue Chew. So that's it. But it's they're great people at Gas. Rumble acquires locals. Anything going to change? I don't know. I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. Thank you for red pilling, white pilling me. You've had a major positive impact on my life. You are correct. How's Austin? I'm in heaven. I am in heaven. The truncation of the intro song, You're Welcome. Yeah, so I think the full length is back. It was not intentional. It was the new producer. So check it. I think if you look at the Sargon episode, it's there again. Do you have a girlfriend or boyfriend? Yes. Status, love to say if you don't like this country, you can leave, but then freak out when someone suggests this. Ooh, that's good for you. Weird profile pic, but good for you. That's a great point. Would you ever do a podcast with Garglin? What's Garglin? Is that like a product? Garglin. What does Garglin mean? I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. If I got trolled, good for you. You rock my socks. That's true. That is true. Watching you repeatedly emphasize the press or not impressive people on Rogan was such a white pill. Yes, thank you. In the face of perpetual demoralization, it's imperative we return the favor to the masses. Okay. That's funny. Thank you for helping me keep my sanity. You are welcome. Do you consider Atlas Shrugged to be a work of anarchist fiction? Oh, that's a great question, right? Is 19... I would say no, because the premise isn't anarchism. The premise is more cultural and who are the important people in society. In the world of the end of nigh, is there anything to look forward to? No, you're screwed. Doing my part for the succulent fund. Oh God, I just ordered like 6 an hour ago from overseas because I got a succulent today from China and got through customs as a dry run. Good morning, Sunday morning. YouTube won't let me send his name. Okay, Alec. Oh, you can't even say Baldwin's name? Wow. Oh, wow. Been introducing my friends and family to your content. What's the easiest example to illustrate to normies that everything they are fed is a carefully crafted narrative? Something nobody can refute. Here's a very easy one. First of all, if you go to fucktards.org, You can see that they all lied, that they pretended Tulsi didn't have an effect on Kamala Harris dropping out of the campaign. I talked about that on Rogan. Here's a very easy one. Social distancing. If it works, why aren't we doing it again? And if it didn't work, why do we do it to begin with? That's a very simple one. And they won't have, they'll think there must be some answer. But there's no easy examples. They don't think in those terms because they're taught not to even question things. Oh, thanks, Ken. This was you. Yeah, good work, Ken. Another favorite Jewish saying of mine is, whose blood is redder? I mentioned it when someone justice justifies saving lives at a minor risk to myself. I like that one. Have you decided on a payment process for the signed hardcover? It's not going to be Bitcoin. I can't do it because I'm going to do it through just a Stripe. Okay, how would private policing work when you're not in the community? What happens when you go to a bar, movie theater, mall, hotel? It happens right now. It's not even hypothetical. At any point, and also private policing would follow you like your cell phone. So so you would pay for a service and it would follow you around just like Sprint. Just like if you're I'm a diplomat from Finland, I'm under Finland's jurisdiction in America. Finland protects me, even though we're not obviously contiguous. At any point were you losing a cash cab? Oh, hell yeah, I was terrified. I was 2 strikes down. That's why at the very end, I'm like, give me the money. I had to get out of that cab as fast as possible. Do you have a spare bedroom? Yes. Need roommate? God, no. Okay. Okay. Looking forward to part 4 with Lex. I know I've got 3 outfits planned for the next Lex. Will there ever be a Reason live stream? And will podcast 1 re-upload the Ben Domenech episode, the audio fixed? No, they're not going to re-upload the Ben Domenech episode. And my very sincere apologies. You can imagine how happy I was to see that happen. And I don't think there's going to be a Reason live stream because no one would watch it. Who cares? My dad saw you for the first time in Beck. I think you red pilled the BoomerCon. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Glenn is okay, let's talk about Glenn. Let's talk about Glenn. Glenn. So I get along very well with Glenn. I've done his radio show several times. I did his show and Sarah Gonzalez's show, The News and Why It Matters, a while ago. I don't remember exactly when. And they said, hey, I went to do it. Eliza Schaefer and Sydney Watson's show. You Are Here. I was their first guest a couple of weeks ago, and I did well, got good numbers. So they're like, come back and do like a slew of our shows. And that was a no-brainer because Glenn is really, really red-pilled. Like, people have this idea that red-pilled is being kind of out there. Molly Hemingway's red-pilled, and she's like a religious mom. Like, she is like Ned Flanders in many ways. She's like genuinely a good, kind person who believes in God and believes in morality. She's red-pilled as hell. So I knew it would be an exciting conversation. The other thing that really sucked, my camera's blurry. Let's see if I can fix it. The other thing there you go. The other thing that really was, I had to wake up early to do that show. So when I'm sleepy, I'm not at 100%. But man, like what I really liked about that interview is he asked the tough questions and then he shut up and let me talk, which is something I very much try to do when I have my show. Like, people often say, like, why don't you push back on these guests? I don't want to. The whole point of the show is for them to have their point of view. I'll challenge them, especially if we're close. Like, we're pals. Like, I'll really get a little aggressive. I've done that with Will Chamberlain. I did that with Jessica Tarlov, so on and so forth. Oh, for the aquarium fund. I don't know what to do, Greg, because I've got 100 plants I bought since I've been here. So I got to think about this. If I'm going to get one, it's going to be the anglerfish. So I knew it would be a fun interview, but I didn't know it was going to be that fun. And because I've talked about this with Dave Smith several times in his show, and I think it's a Scott Horton idea, which is, if you're going to go argue with the right, attack them from the right. And I knew Glenn is very much a student of history, not this kind. And we even made that point. I made that joke of, if you ask a conservative who's worse, Obama or Woodrow Wilson, and they start hemming and hawing, or they say Obama, you could leave the room. There's no one to talk to there. So this is funny. So So I was really pleased with that episode. And here's something that's even more exciting. And I don't have an explanation for this, which is I had the most views of any of his podcasts. And this was before Rogan, so it's not the Rogan bump. And that included Tucker Carlson. And I don't have a good hypothesis as to why Glenn Beck's audience is more interested in hearing me than in hearing Tucker. That doesn't make sense to me. And there's a lot of things we could speculate, but this is his crowd. And clearly, this is the crossover event, Glenn and Tucker. So I was really excited when that happened, just seeing those numbers, because it's very hard when you do what I do and people like me do to have any kind of understanding of, is it working? Remember when Hillary Clinton, is it working? So views is where you get invited, book sales. These are all loose metrics because at the end of the day, it's just me and my mic and the camera. And I'm doing the same thing, whether I have this many viewers or that many viewers, but sometimes it seems to be clicking. So I'm very, very excited about it. Okay. So I think that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I'll take like half hour to answer questions, but I'm in a really good space. And the book is I think is going to rip a hole in reality. I hate like over promising, but I'm first of all, why are you writing I'm catching myself. Why are you writing a book if you weren't excited about it? Right? It's not like I have a book deal. Like I just think the reason I'm writing this book is because it needed to be written, and I'm no spring chicken when it comes to writing books. I knew what needed to happen, and I'm making it happen. It took a long time and a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it. So, did you ever cover Cenk claiming he can beat up Joe Rogan? I don't remember. I talked about that somewhere. But it's Joe was a martial arts champion. It's completely absurd. And why would you even say that? Like, okay, even if you like people say, oh, I could kick your ass. Okay, you can. You're bigger than me. So what does that prove? Doesn't prove that Joe's wrong about ivermectin. Talk to you about agitprops in comic books. You made great points when you write about this. What are your thoughts on changing the status quo with comics? I think it's a stupid. I'm so over comics for years. I can't even begin to tell you. Are you concerned about the globalist transhumanist? I'm for transhumanism in a sense, and their push for digital ID, social credit score. No, I know Alex is very concerned about this. I think this is the kind of thing where really they'd be overplaying their hand. Just got it's 9 volumes. Just got 11 volumes of Copleston on your recommendation. We're doing video essays on it. Oh, thank you very much, Adam. So for those who don't know, I forget it. Frederick Copleston wrote a 9-volume history of Western philosophy. I think it's Western philosophy, and it's hard to read because there's so much there, but it's well written. And I read it when I was in college. Basically, put myself through a philosophy course, and it's really very, very useful. Your Glenn Beck discussion. Thank you so much, Mike. That's very nice of you. In my opinion, your appearance on Glenn's show was your best. Also loved your appearance on Jesse Lee Peterson's Understanding People Project. My Sungbun score would be bad because we left the Soviet Union, right? So we're not reliable. We would really be very low, Sungbun. Just turned 20 and hit a 320 bench. Good for you. 320 is an odd number. Do you mean 315? Love the saga on Jesse. By the way, when are you and Alex going back on Timcast? Well, as you know, this is the Gorilla shirt. I was supposed to be on Timcast tonight, but it didn't happen. So Tucker and Glenn are so cross-pollinated, but you bring your audience that falls outside. Yeah, but they're not so cross-pollinated. That's the thing. Like, I mean, Tucker has huge numbers. Glenn has huge numbers. So I don't think it's as simple as that. My Twitter got nuked. Wanted to see if you still want to get ice cream with my daughter and I. Oh, hey, man. Give me some time because I got to get my crap together. Tom Woods was fun. Next public appearance. It's not going to be for a long time. I got to tell you, everyone, with one exception, one very minor exception, everyone at the Tom Woods 2000 episode, cool. No one was annoying. I mean, annoying and like normal annoying. You know what I mean? Like I'm annoying. Everyone was respectful, polite, friendly, great questions. I can't say one bad thing. It's so draining. And everyone gets it because you can only give them so much of your time because a lot of people want you to sign books, so on and so forth. But it takes a lot out of you, and I'm a big introvert, so it's not fun for me. And well, it is kind of fun, but it takes a lot of effort. So I don't know that I would do that again. Have you been to Kill Tony since you've been in Austin? I have. I went with Joe when he did a performance. I finally got to meet Tony Hinchcliffe. What is the least anti-Semitic explanation of the strength of the pro-Israel lobby in the United States? The least anti-Semitic explanation is if you force people to choose between Israel and the Palestinians, most Westerners would choose Israel, just all things being equal. So that's the least anti-Semitic explanation, in my opinion. I only watched the Glenn. Okay. Glenn's a good dude. Are you still on track to finish the White Pill by the end of the year? I don't know. Certainly not the whole book, but the first draft, yes. That's possible. Just because I'm scarce doesn't mean Glenn's audience is going to like me. I don't know. Are you still reading? Should I start reading Annika's Handbook to my newborn? Only if it's a boy. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time trying to educate. You exude happiness. Thank you for your locals. It's so fun. I love that site. And I love that it created what I intended, which was a community for people who don't have to worry about their Facebook friend, getting them in trouble. The best White Pill was realizing AB and AC being cellmates is now in the realm of possibility. Italians and Irish reunited at last. Did you get the Lego minifig? Of course I did. It's in my bathroom right now. I put it on top of the Lego ship that I had as a kid. So it's right now in my bathroom. Please read super chats aloud fully, as some of us can't. Okay, that's fair. That's a great thank you. That's great. I will do that. Thank you. Why do you think right-wingers generally more accepting of your message? They appear very welcoming. I think there are a lot of, first of all, I think because it's true. Second of all, I think it is very hard for someone who's on the right to believe with any sincerity that Mitch McConnell speaks for them, represents them, cares about their values, or anything like that. It's an absurdity. Like they know Pelosi hates them and they have different values. That's easy for them. But you can't look at Mitch McConnell and think this guy cares about you or is going to pursue your values because he shares them. It's ridiculous. It's just absurdity. So I think having an explanation that allows them to be against the state, but at the same time understand the Republican Party is a joke, is evil and a joke. I think I would guess that. Okay. Thoughts on Malice, Bonino, Ruby? Who's Rubio? Do you mean who's Ruby? Do you mean Zuby? Times pool discussion. I don't see how that's going to happen. That's a lot of big egos in one room. Shout out from Victoria, Australia. Wow. Shout out from Victoria, Australia, where you get a $90,000 fine and 2 years in prison for not wearing a mask. Good Lord. Can I still like you and be a teacher? Sure. Difficult reference if you haven't seen Shane Gillis's special, but Tucker fans are Fox News dads and Beck fans are Fox News moms. Yeah, that makes kind of sense. But I think Glenn Beck, and I hear everyone flipping out from here. Just give me a second. Glenn Beck is much more different from Fox News than people realize. And I think in many ways he's closer to Alex. Have you heard of Jack Spirko? I have. He runs the biggest and longest running survival themed podcast. He's also an anarchist. Yeah, that stuff. I watch the show alone. I find it. I don't find it interesting. I'm such a city Jew. It's just like, why are you outside? When a U.S. state finally secedes, do you think it will welcome dissidents from other countries? It would depend on the state completely. If not, what places do you think will be the most free? I have no idea how to predict this. I'm dodging the question, but this is the kind of thing where you can't anticipate what's going to happen, like with the Arab Spring, like what's going to break. Like no one would have guessed Colorado would be the state to decriminalize marijuana first. That's not intuitive. Your talk at the MBLA convention was unexpected but wholesome. Do you mean NAMBLA? Okay. Why did Joe Rogan perform at Madison Square Gardens? Because he loves pulling out weed. My son was bar mitzvah this week and wanted me to thank you for the Politically Correct series. Well, that's very nice. What kind of Jew gives other people money for his bar mitzvah? He's going to have to do it again. He didn't get it right the first time. I think getting the vax makes sense for me, but I don't want to comply with mandates. Lauren Chen proposed getting it and refusing to show proof to those who are not vaxxed. Thoughts? My thought is do what's right for you. And I don't think getting the vax is the end of the world. I also think there's this, obviously, the bigger issue is a slippery slope. And that's one of the reasons I left New York. I'm not going to show a piece of paper to go into a restaurant to have sushi. It's not happening. Would love to see you and Steve Bannon talk. That would be hilarious. Yo, Michael, I saw you walking the other day while I was driving for Uber near my house. Welcome to near the neighborhood. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Why does Joe refuse to consider that they might be bad people? Have you seen Dune? I have no interest in seeing Dune. He's not refusing. It's just that he has firsthand knowledge of them. So it's really, like when you find out someone like hit their wife once because they're your coworker and they're nice, you crack jokes. It's hard to wrap your head around it. Did I miss anything? Okay. You mentioned the cathedral in all but name, but in Rogan. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I used the word cathedral. Was this because you didn't want to muddy the points by bringing up Yarvin? No, it's so interesting what people infer. I'm sure I brought up Yarvin at Curtis at different places completely. I don't know how that would muddy the water either, to be honest. History of Philosophy has updated to 11 volumes. Oh, Russian philosophy. I read a book called History of Russian Philosophy. It was a nightmare. Logical positivism and existentialism. Okay, that's interesting. Good to know. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tried to red pill my cousin. Showed him part of Tim Pool interview. Stopped watching. Said he couldn't take you seriously with the hat. I laughed out loud. Exactly. That's why I wore that propeller beanie, to alienate people who you don't want on your side. So you just saved yourself a lot of time. What do you think of the United States motto, E pluribus unum? Sounds like commie bullshit. In defense of boomers, I'm going to stop reading there. My last joke, probably too far. Okay. Aloha Malice. I promise no 17-letter alphabet today, but another one, my conspiracies research Tartaria before your trip to Ukraine with Chris Williamson. God bless, mahalo. It looks like Chris is going to come to Austin before I get to go to Ukraine, so that's pretty cool. I finally get to hang out with him. Any thoughts on the Machine Elves book? I'm thinking about the White Pill book. That's all I'm thinking about. A friend told me recently she's a Democrat. I didn't ask her because I didn't want to start anything. What could she possibly mean by that? I don't even have any theories. As a native New Yorker, what's your overall opinion of New Jersey? Diarrhea. Why aren't you on Tim Pool tonight? Because Tim's sick. Tim is sick. Do you use an e-reader at all or only physical books? I read from my iPod, and if the book hasn't been digitized, like I'm reading a book right now, I will read the hardcover or the physical copy. Last question from me. What do you think has been the most pivotal point that led to the liberal decline of recent times? I don't know what you mean by liberal decline of recent times. Do you mean the rise of liberalism causing decline, or do you mean the decline of liberalism as a governing philosophy? If you mean I'll assume if you mean the loss of liberties in the old school liberal sense, it would probably be Woodrow. It would got to be the Woodrow Wilson election, the presidency. The rise of the progressive era. Had to pick up some equipment from middle school today, and the fellas just full of posters and murals by going to college, a middle school. You're absolutely right about public education. Oh, that's it. I mean, that's not a surprise at all. Enjoy your podcast. Any chance you get Maddox or Rucka Ali on? I just texted Rucka today. So we're bros. I had him on before. The next week I have James Lindsay. He's going to be the next guest. Does Allison still have Tim tied up in the basement, or will she let him out tonight? you'd have to ask her. You'd have to ask her. What was the greatest mistake in human history, and why was it women's suffrage? I'm sorry, the idea that like men's suffrage is that much better. Men elected Woodrow Wilson twice, so this is nonsensical. They elected Teddy Roosevelt in a huge majority. Okay, we are caught up. I'm gonna have a drink of my juice. God, I'm so disappointed that I'm not doing Tim tonight. I had such a good stunt planned, and it was gonna take like an hour to put my costume on. I'd get a special hat made. Thank you, Jose. It was a whole big thing. I'm only here for the possible sheath commercial. Well, I'm not going to show you my underwear, but I am wearing sheath right now. Okay, so I think that's kind of, yeah, I don't know if anyone has a more specific question about Glenn or Rogan. I'm really stoked about both those appearances. Glenn was the one who inspired me to basically write the White Pill, as I told him. And it's just going swimmingly. One of the things I have to close up, if you look on the floor, first of all, that's a record signed by all the members of X-Ray Specs, one of my favorite bands of all time and my namesakes. But also next to that is a book called The Anticlimax. It's a pamphlet that Alexander Berkman had to publish himself in the 40s, because they wouldn't let him include the last chapter to his book against the Soviet Union. So it's really, 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 really good. What was the Bolshevik Myth is the book. Your Jesse Lee Peterson interview really flipped the switch with coming to terms with my mom's abuse. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm glad. That's really powerful. Thanks for that, and for flipping the switch into leaning toward the black flag. Lean into it, MFer. That's what it's there for. Absolutely. Where can we suggest podcast guests? Probably Twitter. Why does it look like you live in a Swedish prison? I don't know. Is this a Swedish prison? I don't know what that means. I don't have IKEA. Best book on Woodrow Wilson. I probably like The Illusion of Victory is a good one. I lied. I think you're very important. We need more people like you. I hope you continue to convince more people to think the way you do. Much love. Well, that's very nice. Joe kept telling me I was important, which was really stunning. When you hear him, he doesn't need to kiss my ass, and he would know who's important or who's not. So that was really interesting. Do you have an overall opinion of the Enlightenment, good or bad? Very, very, very good. Would love to see a conversation with you and Jason Whitlock. He's got a show on the Blaze. I'm familiar with Jason. Happy Halloween, everyone. Be sure to put some stuff and some apples for the kids. My wife, base shaman. My wife and I saw Jesse interview. My wife's family's Jewish and immigrated from Russia. She too had her father divorced her mom in high school and had a younger brother at the time. She found what you said relatable. Well, that's very cool. That's really cool. She must be a very mean woman. Those Russian ladies are not nice. As a comic book fan, your question outfit was the best. You didn't get the other half of the outfit. New iPad mini, perfect ebook reader. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I know anarchists don't like to organize. That's inaccurate. But couldn't someone get you, Rogan, Beck, Lindsay, everyone big in the fight to meet and hash out an agenda? That we have that. It's called the Elders of Zion. I regularly bring up some of your best concise arguments in conversation with friends and family who tend to respond very well. Thank you for what you do. It's reaching farther than you know. Well, that is very nice. Thank you. Ever been to Chernobyl or Tunnel of Love? I have not, but I would love the story behind that picture and why you're holding up a can of soda. I think it's soda. When was the interview? I don't know what interview you mean. If you mean Joe and Glenn, they're both on YouTube. Did you book Kenny Hotz for Your Welcome episode yet? He flaked, but I'm going to try to get him back on because he's a big hero of mine. Why do we need, who's we? Can't we do what you want? I want to be free. Return to federalism. There was never a thing. This is for a 10-gallon hat fund. Ooh, God. I'm going to like Homer on The Simpsons where the hat's crushing his neck. Do you have any interviews, debates with blue-pilled or Democrats? I don't do debates, but if you look through the You're Welcome archives, Jessica Tarlov, top of my head, I had Nomiki Konst as well. I'm trying to think if there's any others. Let's see. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for being my bodyguard at the event. That was needed. I'm 19 from the UK, lost. What do I do? Become the best person that you can and don't worry about the culture now. Focus on getting a good gym routine going, reading as much as possible. It'll pay off enormous dividends later. Best moment on Glenn. It's not a numbers game, Glenn. 100%. 100%. As a dyslexic, is there any chance we could get you to read your book, The Anarchist Handbook? Well, no, other people are reading it. The audiobook's going to happen imminently. Also, if you can only read one chapter, which one would it be? Probably the Lysander Spooner chapter. I think that's really up there. You are missing so much by not driving. Ask a native about Hippie Hollow and nudist beach on Travis. Ooh, I will not be doing that. I assure you. Nice meeting you at Tom Woods 2000. I was a guy that said you could drive my car. Wife told me I haven't been that nervous since our wedding 15 years ago. Well, that explains that stain in your pants. So thanks for being awesome publicly as an introvert. You are welcome. The Glenn Beck interview was the best, and Woodrow Wilson was the worst president ever. That the second part is beyond dispute. Do you have your puppy yet? No, I'm not getting a puppy. That was my friend's German Shepherd. Okay. Okay. Were you ever of an ideology at odds with anarchy, and what triggered the eventual shift? Yes. I used to be a minarchist, and my buddy James Wilson at Cato would say to me, you're so close, just got to make that last step. I said, yeah, I ran all the way to the edge of the cliff, and now I'm jumping off. Well, I jumped off. She heard you say she's a mean woman. She's mean to everyone but me for now. I wouldn't want to get in an argument with her. What will you say to the cop the first time you're pulled over for a BS ticket while driving? I'll say, I'm not driving, I'm traveling. Soda can guy looks like Ace Ventura. If his agency never took off. Listen, Jay Leno, you're not in a position to be making fun of people's looks, okay? You're what keeps me white-pilled in these bleak times. Thanks for all the content. Can't wait for the next book. It's going to be so good. I hope you like it. What are your thoughts on the Luton school rape cover-up and the neo-Nazi false flag attempt by the Virginia Democratic Party? I have been following that school thing. I know the Federalist has been on top of it really well. I talked to Ben about it a little bit. The false flag attempt, it's amazing how stupid a lot of these people are, where they think they're just so oblivious. They think they can get away with their bullshit and no one's going to call them out on it. And it's because they're thinking in a pre-internet world. Do you think the CIA killed more Americans than they have helped? I don't know how many CIA actually kills. Maybe I don't think it's that many. I don't think that's really their thing. Bulk in terms, especially in terms of just adding up. Bull Creek and Twin Falls are better. Avoid Hippie Hollow. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what any of these things are. Good morning. What is that tie? What is that symbol? What is that symbol? Is political violence ever justified? No, that's why we're all British. Okay. I got 5 more minutes, then I'm going to go. I'm so excited. I got it, guys. I'm so excited by this. I'm just so excited by this. I'm not a big Crowder guy, but any plans to talk with him since YouTube was trying to axe him? Nothing in the works. I got no beef with him, of course. What do you think of conservatives idolizing Teddy Roosevelt? Is there yearning for a strong man, or is there some ideological thing I'm missing? Turner, this is literally the extent of it. Teddy Roosevelt was a Republican. Teddy Roosevelt is on Mount Rushmore. Therefore, Teddy Roosevelt's great. That's literally that's all they know. And he was genuinely a badass and on a personality level. That's it. That's it. These people are the boomer cons. You know, I don't have wood here, but there's no one home. Did Rang dislike Nietzsche more later in life because of Nietzsche's acceptance of Kant? No, she was it, which leads to why does Rand hate Kant? Well, that you can look up very easily. She disliked him later in life, not because of any Kantianism, but because she wrote The Fountainhead as a repudiation in Gail Wynand of egoism as he defines it. It really opened my eyes on why Joe wants to sue CNN when his friend is Jeff Tucker. You're also thinking the legal process is something that's predictable, and I mean, it would be a nightmare even if he won. So no Tim, no Barnes, you got to keep talking. What if I went on strike? What if all the men of the mind went on strike? Pleasure meeting you at Tom Woods. The masked guy was a Kaufman-esque troll. It was not a troll. That guy, so at the Tom Woods 2000 event, as I'm doing my puppet act, some guy ran up to, but didn't get on the stage and started screaming at me, and he had to be tackled and physically removed. And it was not a troll at all. I had nothing to do with him. I'm not on Twitter. Can I suggest Daniel Bonvechik? He's a professor teaching philosophy. No interest. I try never to talk to academics if I can avoid it. And it's also, no one wants to watch them. They're horrible people. I'd like to quote you for a death metal record. Mazel tov. My P.O. box is on michaelmalice.com/contribute. So you can find it there. Bummed you're not on Tim. Can't wait for your next appearance. Okay. And we got one more. Who's blowing up my phone? The UPS store. I got another package. Jesus Christ. Oh, hey, Chase. Thanks for everything you do, Michael. Your girl, Brooklyn, is judging Canada season 2 right now. Do you think that we will see a cultural shift against authoritarianism happen quickly, or will it be a very long fight? I don't think it will be a cultural shift. I just think the people who have thought leaders are going to be the ones shifting. That's why we're all British. That's not the best troll ever. I was disappointed. I'm disappointed Joe Rogan played an event where all attendees had to be mandatorily vaxxed. Please ask Joe to address it in his show. I absolutely will not be doing that. It's his prerogative to do whatever he wants. With Allison Hawkeye, Tim in the basement. Why not Ian cast in real life with you and Luke? I love Ian. Like, I think he is such a cool dude and such a fun dude to hang out with. He's like a genuinely good person, unlike Lydia, who's the... I'm kidding. Love you. When is Sticks happening? He's in Europe for good, I think. No plans? That would be a good guess. I should get him on. Let me write that down. That's a great idea. That's a great... And I got to get Safety on also. Okay, we got 2 more minutes. Then I got to bounce. Next Spite Fund, use this toward it regardless. I don't know what I want to get. Maybe I should get like a really expensive plant. That might be like some really demonic one that's like $500. How do you retort the slippery slope is a fallacy trope? You don't, because when someone says that, they're being disingenuous. Because there are many cases where the slippery slope is valid, and many cases where you could stop it, where the slope is not in fact slippery. So them just saying this means they don't want to have a reasonable discussion. Okay, I am going to... We got 1 more minute. By the way, this is so cool. Okay, so I'm going to bounce. Thank you all so much for the support. I will see you all on Locals, malice.locals.com, or on Twitter. Next week, we got James Lindsay. Then I'm going to talk to, I think, Mark Hemingway about his new book about Trump, probably the week after. And Ethan Nicole is going to be back on to talk Chesterton. And I also want to get that lady who went viral yelling about Joe Biden on TikTok. So that was a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, I want to really reiterate how much better Austin is than New York. And having found all my crap and I'm still unpacking because I'm not going to make myself crazy, is really just really, really great. So if you're in the cities, get out. You know which cities I mean. Been a while since I caught one of your live streams. Look, I just missed it though. Sad. Thanks, Michael. Love you. I love you more. Okay, I'm going to go do some reading, go do some writing, go do some squats. Sorry I couldn't be on Tim, but it'll happen soon. Tim is the best. Would you be willing to speak at a Texas university on how universities should be destroyed? Sure, they'd have to pay me, but I would be happy to do so. Okay, guys, I'm going to bounce. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one.